Hello everyone, and welcome to my next video for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia, where I'm going to be going back to the Conqueror's Duty Cosmos quest in the Vayne event, and I'm going to be trying to clear it under the conditions of a little something that's referred to as the TCC challenge, which actually stands for the Crystal Chronicles challenge, and it is named thusly because it's named after a podcast hosted by several of the fine folks over at the Dissidia FFOO subreddit, called aptly enough the Crystal Chronicles. And it's called the TCC challenge because essentially it's a means of challenging yourself to be able to complete the latest content, the most difficult sort of endgame content, using not the latest and greatest characters, but actually using characters who perhaps are not optimal in the meta, or who have fallen behind a little bit, or who are a little bit older, and definitely no boosted characters. And essentially the aim behind it is to encourage people to get a little bit more creative with their team compositions, to display understanding of the game, and show you that it's actually possible to still get full completes on the most difficult content using perhaps a little bit weaker or a little bit outdated characters. So for this one, the banned characters are Sarah, Vayne, Zack, Kistis, Cloud, and Lena. And if I'm going to be totally honest, it really sucks having Lena and Sarah disallowed, because they are two of my strongest supports and they would make this entire thing so very, very much easier. But at the same time, I guess that's the point. It wouldn't be much of a challenge if we could use them now, would it? And yeah, actually, I've actually tried to do this multiple times already, and I have met with failure like more than once. And you'd be forgiven for thinking that it's a cakewalk if you're using Vayne, because that guy is so utterly and completely dominant with his turn shenanigans and his damage per turn that he just makes everything into a cakewalk. And while I don't deny that he is very fun to use, and I have been really enjoying sort of trying to break my my score limits with using him, it definitely becomes much more of a challenge when you don't. So for this quest, we do actually have Sephiroth, Rinoa, Jekt are all pretty much fair game in terms of damaging units, but we will find that it is a single target boss, so Sephiroth is technically the most efficient at dealing with them. Now, I could actually run Sephiroth and Rinoa in the team at the same time, but in my opinion that kind of defeats the object, because it is supposed to be a challenge after all, and you are supposed to be encouraged to use less meta characters. So I figure that having Sephiroth as my hyper carry, my one main damaging character, is going to be sufficient for this. That's the hope anyway. So you'll see that he's actually the only character on my team that's fully decked out with everything that he needs. He's got both Ifrit and Shiva Board Masteries. He's got more or less perfect artifacts. Perfect by my standards at least. He's doing really well. Eiko, on the other hand, is not. I only have Ifrit Board Mastery for her, and a 0 LB 90 CP armor. I do actually, however, have halfway decent artifacts for her, although I am going to have to go back and revisit these once her EX Plus comes around and it's released in the Chaos era, since even though I do have Sephiroth's EX Plus, I am going to be pulling for Eiko, because she gets Medine and she gets Terrahoming and it looks amazing, and she does this cute little wave to him when he vanishes off the screen, and she is one of my favourite characters from Final Fantasy IX, believe it or not, so I'm definitely going to have to go for her EX weapon. And she does have a very interesting passive, like in her regular crystal passives. I'm not sure where it is exactly, let's try and find it. Medane Sari's Blessing extends effects of all buffs by 1 turn when granting new buff, 1 use. So basically what that means is when she uses HP regen, she extends the duration of all existing buffs by 1 turn, which includes Vayne's Conqueror's power buff. If it gets to 3 stacks, then she can basically give him 3 free turns instead of 2. And also it would have effect on Alice's dual cast buff when she gets her rework and she gets her EX weapon in her level 70 Lost chapter. She gets a buff that basically gives her a free turn, so you can extend. I think it gives her like a free skill. I'm not sure if it's a free turn, but it gives her a free skill, so you can extend that for Alice, and that gets all sorts of hilarious. And I think there's Yuna and Saz also have passives that has the same effect, so you can do some interesting things with that. But I would be pulling for her anyway because it's Eiko. I just want her because it's Eiko. That's pretty much the only reason I need. But to be quite honest, fuck farming the boards until her EXP ×2 and her rework comes out, because ain't nobody got time to grind Shiva with fucking 60 out of 60 characters, especially ones like Eiko that are a little bit outdated at the moment. And then for my third character, we've got Bartz. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you out there will remember, Bartz was an absolute monster when he was first reworked, and he does really still bring quite a lot of utility to the table. He still only has Ifrit board mastery, but I do have a full set of simple mastery artifacts on him. And I also have the critical assault passive, which is his World of Illusions passive, which actually gives him an extra 10% attack aura, and also speed, which is very important against this boss because we want to take as many turns against it as we possibly can. So yeah, even though he only has one board mastery, he doesn't do the greatest damage, but he does have 60% attack aura and 50% max brave, and he also has extreme longevity with his EX weapon, which we really need for this because it is Cosmos, and we can't really afford to run two characters without an EX, without an EX weapon, unless it's Freya and, like, I don't know, Lulu or something. But no, even then, like, Lulu would probably just not do enough damage. And besides, for this quest, where we absolutely need Eiko along, for two reasons. The first reason is to give a ton of generic buffs to Sephiroth, so that she can actually swap out for Kistis, who has an aura and will make Sephiroth even stronger. But also we need her for the HP regen, because we will, I repeat, we will be taking HP damage here, and if we don't have a means to heal it up, then we will be pretty shit out of luck. The only way we wouldn't need a healer is if we have like a native Kistis, or if we have Vayne, or if we have Zac, just people who do so much damage that they'll kill the boss before it can damage them too much. But here we definitely need some sort of sustainability, so that's why Eiko is here. I would use Lena, but I can't because she's banned by the challenge. Anyway, that being said, let us get into this and see what we can do. So I'll be honest, I have actually tried to attempt this multiple times by now, and if I'm being perfectly honest, it is getting a little bit frustrating trying to narrate the same thing over and over again. So let's try and do it properly this time, so that we won't have to. So I'm going to target the middle one, because this one will actually try and take out Bartz. Now I can use Missile here, and it will give the break bonus to Eiko. I'm not sure if that will be enough for her not to get broken, since she's been double focused. No, it won't. She's definitely getting broken, especially because it's freaking death. Like, I think it just has a chance to randomly break you regardless of anything. Now, you know the drill. We need to set up with everyone. We need to use one of each skill for Bartz. We need to get Sephiroth's Genova stacks up and online as soon as we can. But we do not need to waste a skill here. If we can just kill stuff with basic HP attacks, then definitely save the skill uses. Don't go crazy spamming skills. We will actually, we will need them. This thing, I am going to use a Fervent Blow. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to use Double Hand, just to save on turns. That may or may not be a smart thing to do, I don't know. We really do need to save as many skills as we can for the boss, but, So I am actually going to use Smite here, even though it might be a little bit wasteful. So that's actually perfect. We get Bartz as the last turn, so Bartz can actually use some sort of battery move. So yeah, I am going to use Smite here as well. It's not the most efficient in terms of battery for Bartz. But essentially we do need to use a battery move here, because if we don't, then it's entirely possible that the worm will use Shake Off, and if it breaks everyone simultaneously, then we're all going to get screwed. But it is actually going to use its HP attack now, so that's that's fine, that's whatever. So for here I'm actually just going to Break Plus with Eiko, that's totally fine. We need to use all the black materials we can with Sephiroth to save on skills, because he does get that frill ski use. He does get the free skill use after the EX. definitely not about getting broken here, to be honest. Now I'm gonna hope that if I do a basic HP attack with Bartz, then Eiko should be enough to take it out. Which she isn't, but never mind. Because Sephiroth's got that brave regen, so he should be able to finish it. Yeah, there we go. No problem. So I think we need to refresh the buffs with the HP regen here. And I can't believe we didn't take that thing out. I seriously can't believe we didn't actually do that. But anyway, this thing's getting a fervent blow for sure. Okay, so we're in the final wave. Not quite the easiest road to get there, but we did get there in the end. So I'm actually just... No, let's see. No, I am going to use Smite with Eiko here. So we don't have the most skills, do we? So we have... I'm actually going to... let's see, I'm going to HP attack with Sephiroth, and I'm going to use his EX next turn. I'm going to use Missile with Bartz. I'm going to do things this way. Okay. A little bit risky to do it this way. But that's totally fine. We do get the free skill use off with Sephiroth there. So I'm actually just going to do a regular Brave with Bartz there, because this is the bit where we all need to not get broken, otherwise extremely bad shit will happen. And we are all going to take a ton of damage. When I say a ton of damage, I mean a ton of damage. That couldn't be avoided, unfortunately, because the turns lined up the way that they did. Okay, so I'm going to try and get in as many regular HP attacks with Eiko as I can, because we need all the healing that we can get at the moment. And we also need to debuff this thing with defense. Actually, we should be fine at this kind of point, to be honest. So I'm going to use HP regen here to refresh everyone's buffs, because I'm thinking about swapping out Eiko for Kistis very, very soon. So it would really suck to let a launch opportunity like this to go to waste. So I'm actually thinking it might even be better just to go into summon now and then swap out like immediately, because I don't have any action that doesn't involve hitting this thing. So I'm just gonna do the best I can with the launch. Do I want to launch? Yes I do. HP attack rather. So we absolutely want to use Octoslash. I don't have the battery to make using anything else worthwhile. Okay, nice, we can still turn in summon if we do this. So I'm going to use Fervent Blow. Do a lot of damage. And I'm going to use Octoslash and do another lot of damage. Oof, those 9999s. That's beautiful to see. So here is the bit where I am going to use Kistis's EX, because we need to get her buff up so that she does as much damage as possible with her next degenerators. And Sephiroth should also have an EX here, if I'm lucky. Yes, he does. That's perfect. And we of course have the Anarchy. So I'm going to use missile here. So I'm actually going to use Laser Whip to get the turn rate down debuff on it, because it does stack with the slow, and we need basically all the turns that we can get against this thing. And for the same reason, I'm going to use Fervent Blow. We need to keep the turn advantage if we can. And there goes Kistis's last turn. Now Eiko will come back in. Oh dear, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Never mind. We take what we can get. Okay, so now it's going to do Stone Calling. So Bartz is the target. I'm going to try and heal up as much as I can. And now it's basically a damage race to see if we can kill the thing before it gets another turn, which I actually think we'll be able to this time. The only question is, will it be enough for the target score? Well, there's only one way to find out. It is indeed enough for the target score. I just squeaked by 60,000 points. Yeah, I'll be honest, this is about my fourth attempt recording this, because I did try on the other attempts, but for one reason or another I just ended up failing. So if you can't do it the first time, then keep trying. Sometimes it really depends on who that the horse is going to target. And it's also important to basically, not go into summon straight away with Kistis, but rather to kind of save it until you really need it. If you can't heal the HP back in time, then bringing Kistis in can buy you some time to regenerate some health. Of course, if it decides to go after Eiko, then there's not really too much you can do about that. I do know that there has been one other person to actually clear the challenge using the same lineup, which is firezz, or Octalegs as he also goes by on Game FAQs. I actually did kind of think of the team composition here, and then I checked and I saw his video and I saw he was using the same characters, so I was like, oh shit. Like, I would have brought Rinoa instead of Bartz, but I'm actually not entirely sure whether or not that would have been more or less successful, because you do more damage, but you don't have Bartz's battery, the aura isn't as powerful, you don't have his longevity, so I actually think Bartz is a really good pick for this one if you don't have any sort of, like, super good recent characters. So anyway, I hope all of you have enjoyed watching that, and I will see you all in the next video, which is almost certainly going to be something for the Abyss that comes out tomorrow, or tonight for those of you in North America. So, when all's said and done, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.